Hey, welcome to Cold Steel's Deadliest Weapons. Today we're talking about the Chisa Katana. That's right, this little guy here, super fast, super easy to maneuver. Lynn's gonna get into great detail on it. He's gonna demonstrate it. We're gonna do some cutting with it. But we're giving away this leather neck right here. Now this has D2 steel on it, and this has the really pretty clip point on it. What do they gotta do to win this?
Like, share, comment, subscribe, and drop your email at the bottom of the Cold Steel page.
That's right, she's not lying. Drop it down there, go to coldsteel.com, go down the footer, put your email address in there. Let's jump out with Lynn Thompson and get his thoughts on the Chisa Katana.
If you want an everyday walking around town sword, I recommend Cold Steel's Warrior Chisa Katana. This is a very reasonably priced Japanese style sword that's very, very stout. It's got a thick spine. I don't know, camera, if you can come in on that spine super tight. Look how thick that spine is. It also has a wide blade. Look how wide that blade is. I dare say that's 10%, maybe 15% wider than a Warrior Katana. And I did that on purpose because the blade is about 5 inches or so shorter than an ordinary katana. I made the blade a little bit wider to give it a scotch more cutting power. I wanted a short, handy sword like a Chisa Katana is supposed to be, so that's stout enough to pose even big weapons and still has really good cutting power, despite the fact that it gives up some length and some leverage. And I think I've accomplished that in this sword because it's a very, very good cutting sword, and it thrusts admirably as well. It's got a fairly long, broad point, very strong, broad point here at the Kosaki, and a nice curve to it, and it's very, very acute at the tip, so it thrusts really well. And it's got moderate sori, not overly curved, so it's not hard to thrust with, but it's just so handy. The reason that Chisa Katana was carried and made was samurai and other swordsmen sometimes needed something that was more compact. Lots of times the ceilings were low, they were narrow passageways, narrow hallways, confined spaces, and this sword was a lot handier than a full-size katana, and some people carried them. Today, I also find that to be true. I find in my own life, I carry a Dragonfly Wakizashi a lot as my everyday walking around sword here in Ojai. The people here at first were a little startled by a person like me carrying a sword everywhere, but they're getting used to it. About 70% are really cool with it and admire the sword, and about 30% give me a thumbs down. But yeah, I'm a big boy, I can take it. So this is another one of my everyday walking around swords, the Chisa Katana. It's stout. I can't say it's super light, but it's only moderately heavy. Certainly with my strength, I can use it one-handed very effectively and dexterously. So I don't find it overly burdensome. When you add two hands, it's really facile. This is our Chisa Katana. To cut one chicken seemed just way, way too easy for this sword. So I thought I'd cut two. As you can imagine, I'm a little afraid of hitting that steel hook, but I have a pretty good idea where it is, and I call myself a pretty decent swordsman, so I'm gonna have another go. Look at that cut, boys and girls. Almost 5 inches across here, from here to here. Look at that thick fat it went through. Look at that huge piece of meat on the ground. Huh. Look at me. if I cut you here in the neck, it come out here underneath your arm with that cut. This Chisa katana, like I talk about all the time, it's got a thick blade and it's wide, pretty wide blade, and has a pretty long point. Not a, I wouldn't call it a super long point, but it's getting up there. It's a long point with a lot of curve. It's got pretty good sorry to the whole sword. So this is just a badass sword for something shorter and really maneuverable. It has tremendous cutting power, like I just demonstrated. Look at that.
Hey, that's it for us. Make sure you join us next week when we talk about another piece
of very deadly steel.